Hello, the following video is intended to help you identify and write a design challenge statement. The document you see before you is posted on Blackboard and comes from the IDEO HCD manual. In most of your design classes that you've taken prior to this course, you've been given a specific design challenge. For example, in EGR 201, you were given the challenge to assemble a functioning multimeter. Now at the stage in your engineering education, you are being asked to identify a design challenge that you would like to explore. This manual suggests 6 simple steps along with some tips along the way to help you in identifying those design challenges. In step 1, they suggest working with leadership to identify a list of criteria for the challenge. In this case, your leadership is your team as well as your professor and your TA in your class. You want to ask yourself a number of different questions as suggested here in step number 1, in addition to other questions that may be related to culture and geographical location, economics, and society. Keep in mind that all of these design challenges should be related to people. Second step is with your leadership team, you want to make a list of these challenges that you believe individuals are facing. Then go back to your surveys and ask individuals questions to identify whether or not these challenges are actually really challenges that individuals are facing in particular situations. Once you've identified the important challenges that you see out there in the world, reframe those challenges in step 3 for the constituent's point of view and broader context. In this case, you want to make sure that you're reframing the challenge so that it's clear and that it's related back to what your actual clients and users are facing as real challenges. At this point, you want to keep them in a general, broad context. Don't limit yourself. In step 4, select those top 2 or 3 challenges that you feel are of interest to you as well as to your clients and your users, and then narrow that down to one challenge. And be sure that you're always considering that input from your stakeholders, clients, users that you've obtained through survey feedback. Once you've done this, you want to write a succinct one-sentence design challenge statement to guide your team. Here's an example in this first paragraph of create savings and investment products that are appropriate for people living in rural areas. It's direct in that it tells you that you're going to be creating something. It shows that it is appropriate for people and that it's people not just anywhere but in rural areas. So it's broad enough so that it encompasses a large group of people that are facing this challenge, but not so concise that it limits your ability to be open in your solution. The document also includes 2 tips. First tip is surrounds that idea of who provides input to that design challenge. Okay? And make sure though that you're narrowing down that list to one specific design challenge at the end. But start out broad at the beginning, just like you would when you're coming up for solutions to this challenge. You want to be pretty broad in what the challenge is itself, so that you're not narrowing it down too much early on and accidentally not actually addressing your client's real need. And then finally, when you are writing that succinct one-sentence design challenge statement, it's good to look at tip number 2 here. Make sure that your question is framed in human terms. All right? It's not about creating the technology or creating the product. What you're actually doing is addressing a human need. Okay? And identify which group of humans that you are actually addressing their need for. Again, be broad enough to allow you to discover the areas of unexpected value. So you don't want to be too concise, too narrow, too limiting. But you want to not be so broad that any old solution can do. All right, and that ties into that third point of being narrow enough to make the topic manageable. The rest of this document, which includes 3 additional pages, will show you some examples of some design challenge statements. So use this in writing your first design challenge statement.